Hello there, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is Chris from Cinema Trailer News, and this will be my breakdown for episode 1 and episode 2 of Obi Wan Kenobi, the series. So, I think that the series is off with a great start with these 2 episodes. There are a couple of things that I think they should have done better. But overall, I like it, and it was a really great start to the series, and we get some pretty interesting and cool things here. So let's get into the breakdown. So we start out with a recap showing the events of the prequels, and especially Revenge of the Sith, and how the character of Obi-Wan has gone to all that journey. And then by we open on the planet Coruscant, getting introduced to some younglings that end up getting drafted into this. Now we see the events of Order 66 play out firsthand, and this show really goes up from 1 to 1,000 in the space of a couple of seconds. This is Jedi Verti who defends the children, and he tells what I believe is the story of Reva, of John Reva. And we learn that she's the third sister, a reckless inquisitor that strikes first and asks questions later. But here she's just a scared kid. So we discover later on that she's fixated on Kenobi, but don't learn why this is. However, she might see him as being the person that left her to defend for herself, and for also being the reason of the creation of Darth Vader, the man who likely tormented her after the events of Order 66. This is a major moment in Star Wars history that has been brought up across a number of media, including Jedi Fallen Order, Clone Wars, and the Bad Batch. Now cut to 10 years later, and we find ourselves in Tatooine, namely in Mos Eisley. We can see this by the crashed ship in the middle, which is you may recognize from A New Hope. The Inquisitors arrive in their ship on the city. Now, in case you don't know, the Inquisitors are basically Jedi hunting Force sensitive soldiers. They scout out the galaxy looking for the remainders of the Order. Now, there are extremely tragic figures. At one point, most of them were actually Jedi themselves. Between the events of Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, Darth Vader built up a group of them and enhanced their abilities by teaching them the ways of the dark side. Now, as for the Grand Inquisitor, he first made his debut all the way back in Star Wars Rebels premiere, and he worked as a temple guard on Coruscant. He basically rules over all the Inquisitors, including the 5th brother, 6th brother, 7th sister, 8th brother, and the 9th sister. What's terrifying about the group is they are really double blade lightsabers with circular handles that spin around merciless during combat. We thought that the Jedi's compassion is their weakness, and see this in full effect when they try their attempt to throw a knife at the bartender, which the Jedi then stops, and he managed to escape, and we caught up to Obi-Wan, who's working for a small crew cutting meat off what I believe is a quiet dragon, and like Cal Kestis, he's having to lie low and basically do this job in order to stay fair. We see Obi-Wan lives out in a cave, which of course represents how austerely the Jedi are at this point. A Jawa called Chicken Tucker arrived, and they said they could smell him from Anchorheim, which is one of the first settlements of Tatooine. Was basically a center hub for everyone and transportation. He's brought a T-16 model, which is a gift for Luke, who ended up riding one in A New Hope. Now, Taika also brings with the news of the Jedi at the start that this sets up Obi-Wan off a bit that night and get lines from Padme, flashes of the good times and bad times with Anakin, Yoda, Qui-Gon, who Obi-Wan attempts to reach out. As we learn at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Qui-Gon had learned to become a Force ghost, which is explained why only Ben, Yoda, and Anakin end up doing it, even though we had contrasts of Jedi at this point. He doesn't appear in these first two episodes, but this could be a hint in that we can see him coming down the line. Now, at this moment, we see Obi-Wan looking over, and this is actually post directed from comments, in which he likely likes over Luke is pretending to be racing, just like Anakin. Now, Joe Edgerton is playing Owen Lance, and he once more reprising his role from Revenge of the Sith before he was a star. Now, Obi-Wan ends up leaving the T-16 model for Luke that night, and Neri, the Jedi, arrives after spotting him in town. Obi-Wan immediately denies who he is, refusing to help him, and even giving the name of Ben. This is of course completely opposite to how he was with Luke in A New Hope. He's very much turned his back on being a Jedi and refused to help Nari, even turning him to bury his saber. Next we jump to Alderaan and find out that Leia has gone for herself into other places, along with the droid Lola. She runs to the forest. Also at this moment, Owen does a really important line about Anakin is dead. At this point, Obi-Wan didn't actually realize that he became Darth Vader. The Inquisitors arrive once more, and they don't mess about. Owen kind of voices his true feelings about the Jedi and his family, who he of course. Now, Reva promised to murder his family if the Jedi doesn't come forward, even though we know Owen makes to A New Hope. It's still a really tense scene, and Obi-Wan refuses to come forward. Now, back on Alderaan, Jimmy Smith is back, and we also see C-3PO, who was of course at this point a droid that belonged to him and his family. This is confirmed by the subtitles for that. Leia's cousin Isuru, who's taking her for not being a true Organa, but she does to him a character assassination on him. Now Leia, she's rather been eaten by a jackal beast than apologized to him. These beasts come from snow-raiding planets and are basically giant tigers. Bear brings up how he wanted to chase Purga when he was younger, and these are giant space whales. Leia decides to run off. Bear travels away, and at this point we meet Vec, played by Flea. Now the Organas reach out to Obi-Wan for help in form of a hologram, which is of course a nod to Leia doing the same thing in to him in A New Hope. At this point we see Nari has been captured and hung up for the entire city to see. Once more, Obi-Wan sees himself as failing to save young Jedi, and where Bell comes to him to beg personally, he decides to finally set up. Now he begs Obi-Wan to travel to Dayu, which is a new sci-made Blade Runner escape style planet. After digging his lightsaber up with Anakin, he ends up traveling up to save her, which is we discover is a trap set by Reva. On Dayu he meets with a clone trooper, and we see what happened to them after the events of the war, played once more by Timur Morrison. I absolutely love this cameo, and catching how he's now a homeless beggar carries a lot of substance with it. Now he runs into a drug dealer potentially, and then a little kid comes in and he offers to take him to a Jedi named Hajar, who was apparently been helping people on the planet, played by Kumail Nanjiani. This guy definitely lights up the tone of what has been a dual run so far. We quickly discover he's not a Jedi, he's in fact running a con, and he offers a mother and child safe passage to Korea, aka the planet of Han Solo. Obi-Wan enters a mad lab, sneaking into the back, and he runs into two guards, one of which is a Seabag, aka the same species of Dark Maul. Obi-Wan is careful not to only use his fists and blaster on this planet. He doesn't want to draw attention to himself. It's a trap and he's caught up. And he managed to escape after setting off the spy the drug dealer gave to him. He finds Leia in a holding cell, and we get a scene that very much grave in Luke rescuing her in A New Hope. Reva comes and learns that Kenobi is indeed on the planet, and it's revealed that it's very much a power play to gain favor with Vader. But the rest of the Inquisitors are unhappy, as she had to kidnap Leia to do so, which were caught issues with the Senate. The show goes all John Wick, and the wanton ass are sent out with every bounty hunter getting a test about him. We see him, one of them looking like a velociraptor, and this is actually a member of the race Tashir. Now Leia races to the city, which when everyone starts to close in. I believe one of these members was of the Pike clan, who runs in Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Solo, and the Book of Boba Fett. Reva does some parkour. She causes fire to fly to the rooftop. Leia ends up falling, but Obi-Wan reaches and inside himself, and he finally embraced the Force, and once more he saves his life. Now Hajar and Chance wants to help the Jedi, and he within himself. Now we discover he actually helped the family, the woman with the kid, and he ends up using his performance to buy Reva time, and she dives into his mind, and in a move that we also saw Kylo Ren pull on people. Now the Grand Inquisitor kills Vader, and Reva tracks the pair to the cargo bay. We actually see Obi-Wan hiding, and which is a major change up for the character the Saved by the Bell. The Grand Inquisitor arrives as Reva almost gets to him. She ends up stabbing him, and we also already know about he does survive in canon, but I think likely he won't here, but I think he has more scenes that we see him in the trailer, so I think he could be still alive. Now we end up with Vader waking up in his beta tent, and what a way to review that character. I mean, it was great. Now there are a couple of lines that were like not very good, and also though by the end Leia becomes a little bit of a kid just running around, and Obi Wan can catch her on time, and she's just a little kid running around. So there are little things like that, but for the rest of the show is they're really great episode. I think they combined the two of them were great, and I'm excited for episode 3, and I hope we get to see more of Vader in that episode. So that's my breakdown for Obi-Wan episode 1 and episode 2. Please hit the like button, consider subscribe to your channel, share this video with your friends, and like always, thank you so much for watching.